every job that you just can't conveniently get, and you always have to do it. Now, the little Dremel tool has proved effective at getting in some little corners and edges, and little by little, that whole section that I just worked on. So this is day 4 with our FZ09. The only problem is this morning I had a doctor visit I had to go to early, which ate up the riding part of the day, because in the afternoon it's been in the mid, I would even say even high 90s this week. So rather than try to get a ride in, because tomorrow is supposed to be a little bit nicer, we'll get a real ride. We obviously still have at least a week of breaking in the bike, and I'm extremely fussy about that. I want to share some of the things that I've learned about this bike now that I have a couple hundred miles on it. And the main thing I'm going to try to do on this video is share some of the modifications that pretty much everybody buys a bike, and in the beginning you say, oh, I don't want to touch a thing. Well, then you ride the bike, and you see your friend has some doodad you can't live without, or different grips or different levers or something. Well, the problem with this bike, it's really, really good, and I'm struggling to find things other than cosmetic little things that don't even matter. Certainly mechanically, I wouldn't change a thing, and certainly the exhaust. To go buy an aftermarket exhaust, it's good luck spending your money. I don't know where it would get better. It certainly wouldn't get quieter. And maybe it'll sound a little cooler, I shouldn't say that. But one of the things I'm going to try to do today is polish up the stock exhaust. Just make it look a little nicer. Not a big deal if it doesn't work out. And whenever you polish an exhaust, whatever material it's made out of will determine how much time you have to do it. A lot of times you got to take it off the bike. In this case, it's sitting right out in the open. There's no fairings to take off. It's a no-brainer to just spend a little time polishing. But what I always do, and the reason I want to get into this in this video is, everybody likes to customize a bike. Usually you buy a bike and there's a lot of things wrong with it. The seat's too hard, the suspension's too this, that, you can't, that. It's like, you always have some dominating thing. This bike, I think I've narrowed it down to 3 things. To polishing small parts that I would just like to dress it up a little bit. Making or finding that little piece that goes over here, and if in all else fails, I'll make the piece out of carbon fiber over the winter. And another thing I found out and I'm going to share this right now with the camera on close-up, it's not as obvious as you think. It's not like a GS BMW that you just take 3 bolts and that whole license plate thing goes into the trash. This bike, it goes through the axle. So if you decide to replace it, you've got to do some engineering on a lot of things. You've got to make a spacer or buy one. You've got to find a way of adjusting the axle now, because the axle marks are on that part. So at least they look like they are right now. And I looked at it and thought about it for a while before I said that was going to be the first thing I did. Well, maybe not. Maybe we'll put that off to the future. Because what happens, I've looked on eBay and on Amazon and a lot of these parts, I don't really like them. I like the stock look better. And the point is, this is supposed to be a naked bike. I don't want to put a fairing on it. I don't want to have a big windshield on it. I'm not going touring. I don't want to have saddlebags on. I want to keep it naked. Naked is good. We'll just start off by saying, all beauty, all modifications are in the eye of the beholder, of course. What one person finds super, super attractive, and I've seen some of the people on YouTube that have very different tastes in motorcycling than I do, and they are blinging it out like it's a Christmas tree. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to keep it a naked bike that looks totally functional. The majority of the people want to right away put these little baby LED blinkers that you can't see. I won't be doing that. Not after the incident I had with Luciano where he couldn't see these little baby blinkers I had. I had them on the R1, and he didn't see that I was going to make a left-hand turn, and at probably 120 miles an hour, he went by me, never having seen the blinker. So to me, these blinkers look better and better, and I've retrofitted them to all the bikes I have that have little blinkers. For anybody who doesn't know it, this bike doesn't have a muffler. The bike has a catalytic converter that has some sound dampening baffles in it, just like the R1 does, or similar bikes. I'm not sure if the R1 has a similar system or what, or it has the converter in the mid-pipe or whatever, and it doesn't matter. This bike, for all purposes, has no muffler. So this is the part that most people, now Luciano, when we picked up the bike, the first thing he says, oh, that's ugly, that's ugly. I don't know if it's ugly yet. I haven't really decided, because I'm thinking when you mount the plate here is it going to look any better? So I'm going to keep the door open on that. And I started looking on eBay and on Amazon, and the part that's going to make this a problem is this bolts through the axle, and you have to make a spacer. And that spacer can't be aluminum, it better be hardened steel, because you're going right through the axle. So for right now, I'm going to put this on the back burner as a potential future thing. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, it's ugly. But then I think it's ugly, and it's illegal to have the plate up there where you can't see it. I've seen guys get stopped and got a $100 ticket for having a plate up there. So having a plate back here, again, all in the eye of the beholder. There's no right or wrong. There's no cool and not cool. But as the days have gone by with this, and I've looked at all the different choices, that choice is going to be on the back burner now. Now, for people that might not know, or they're new to the channel, I've customized and restyled bikes many years. I've been riding bikes way over 50 years. And I've taken bikes that are 10, 11 years old and tried to update them with modern paintwork and fancier things, and made my own. Well, John Parthia made them, and Thomas Luciano. But the whole point is, I don't want to restyle this bike. I kind of like it just the way it is. And when you're looking for upgrades, I have what I call the Christmas tree effect. You buy a bike, I've seen guys do this. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually probably suits their needs. And they just can't wait. It's a Christmas tree. And they start adding things and putting things that we go, well, if that makes you happy. But keep in mind what I think. I have a bike with a full fairing. I have a bike with historic plates. I have a two-stroke. What I don't have in this collection, and that's why I bought this bike, is a totally naked bike that is going to be comfortable, number one, suit my riding position, and let me get many miles in good comfort on it. And under warranty, I hope. So within the first 100 miles, I realized that the gas gauge isn't what I thought it was. And Jose confirmed what happens with the gauge on these bikes, and maybe all modern bikes, is this. And I wanted to show this because somebody may be befuddled if they pick up their new MT-09, and the gauge comes up and it shows full. And I went 77 miles and it didn't move, and I said, uh-oh, that's going to be a problem. Well, it's not a problem, because what happens, as soon as you get about 70, 80 miles, well, this is break-in miles, so maybe no break-in miles, it would be 60, this thing drops like a stone. And so there you have it, baby. That's good information. So because time is limited today, I thought what I'd try to do is share. The first thing I wanted to do is put a little bit of a polish. The exhausts are pretty well polished when you buy them. I think I can make just a little bit nicer, and I'll share the little technique that I use. Nothing high tech, a lot of labor, a lot of love, basically no material. Now, I hope that's going to be what I call the upgrades that you don't really notice until all of a sudden you stand back and go, wow, that's really nice. That's one of the things that we can do today in this limited time that we have. And then with the fact that it's so hot in this garage, I don't want to be out here more than about 2 or 3 hours, but I'll see what I can get done there, and I'll put the results at the end of the video, and we'll share how it worked out. Now, just for purpose of information, this is already on the video, on the previous set, the Ninja Restoration videos. Polishing up some of the pipes, whether they're made out of stainless steel, titanium, whatever material they use, and I'm not sure because titanium has 7 grades, stainless steel has a lot more. And I don't know what grade they use. It's not important. They all polish up very similarly. Now, just a tip for somebody that may have an old GS like I have, the pipes, and this is an 86 exhaust system that's on an 82 bike. It's not stock, it's not what comes with the bike. I have the stock system downstairs, which is chrome. This is black chrome, and what happens with black chrome, if you polish it too much, you go right through the coating of it, and then you basically have clear chrome. And well, you have it both ways, and I've tried not to over polish those pipes. But pipes like the R1 have no coating on them. You can polish them until you're blue in the face. I'm sure these pipes have no coating on them either, and we're going to see how they polish up. Because of the temperature, first thing we got to do is set up some fans in here and get some air blowing. So as I said before, these have a little bit of a polish on it, but I'm not sure. We can't make it a lot nicer in a very short amount of time. The product that I found works great on titanium, stainless steel, and other things. The mag aluminum polish, it's an AutoZone product. The big tubs are about $9. I thought I'd share a really good tip, because I try to work with gloves I don't want to get my hands all so dirty because I have to usually babysit in the afternoon. And I don't want to be like a grease monkey either. A little bit of talcum powder in the gloves. When you sweat, at least you can get the gloves on and off real easy. And just ordinary baby powder or cornstarch. That's a good tip. So the buffing ball that I got, this comes from a body shop supply and it's about $10. This is an excellent tool for doing most. This allows you to get in some corners, in some tight edges, and these are all Harbor Freight things that are about $3. So what you need here is under $20 worth of buffing tools and some old microfibers. So the first step is just to see how this is going to buff out. If this is the same material that's on the Ninja, if it is, this will buff out relatively quickly. And I wanted to do this first little test in real time just to show. And that looks like a whole lot better. So now I have to pick my poison. What part of this can I do? I can get in there, I can get up here, I can get there. And then change the tool to one I can get in all the corners and angles and edges and things. And the material absolutely looks like it's going to buff up pretty nice. I'm really not sure with the video if you can see how quickly that polished up real quick. Yeah, well, you can compare it to this one. Has this one polished up, and also on the side here I just did a little bit on the bottom. So now with the buffing tools I'll be able to get, I think, a big chunk of it with the buffing tools before I have to resort to by hand and putting shoe shine cloths around it and stuff. I think 90% of it we're going to be able to get with the good old buffing tools and our $9 Harbor Freight drill. And little by little, that whole section that I just worked on here, it's coming together. Now see, now I need to use this tool to get in between the two pipes, get up around here without interfering. And this will get right in between the two pipes. It'll be very convenient to have this. Again, this is a Harbor Freight tool. This is not an expensive tool. Basically, we're only into this about, maybe not even a half an hour, and we've got a good chunk of it done. You need a various supply of tools to get in small edges, and at the end we'll use our little Dremel tool with the little buffing wheels to get in there. But I try to get as much of it done with the big heavy-duty tools, and they just work great, and the Mother's Mag polish works great. And it is a labor of love, but it comes right up, and as you see it starting to come up, it really floats my boat anyway. Here's another good thing. When you do something like this, you don't have to reboot the computer in the bike, and you don't have to worry about blah blah blah. You don't have to worry the handling is going to go down a drain or anything. It's a win-win-win. It looks great and it's easy to maintain, even after you ride the bike in the rain. Now, the one thing you can do that makes this job a lot harder is if you overload the little polisher with the polish. And what happens, it makes white dots on the neighbor's house. So I try to minimize it because it just makes it easier for me. A variety of tools, they're all inexpensive. And one of the reasons I have carpeting in my garage, because I'm laying on my back a lot. This kind of work, you get that good exercise that when you're all done with this, you feel like you just had a workout at the gym, but you didn't have to pay for the gym membership. can decide if this is really worthwhile. If it's worthwhile to you, it's worthwhile to me. And boy, that, to me, that changes the look of the bike. And it doesn't turn it, in essence, in some cases, if you have a thing that looks out of place on a bike. I don't like the flat black exhaust. The other models of this bike come with flat black exhaust. I like that a lot better. And that's going to be very easy to maintain over the long haul. So when you get back to the cat, which people think is a muffler, but it's a catalytic converter, I think it's going to be necessary to take that little cover off the back so I can get up in there, because I want to see that, and that's the part I want to see to get my polishing done. So I'm going to take that little piece off just to make it a little bit easier for the polishing, but so far it's coming out fine. A lot of times you can just make a job a lot easier by just getting something out of the way, and that, in this case, this is the part we got to get out of the way. And once that's off, I'll be able to get the buffer up in there. It'll just make it a little bit easier. And with that piece off, 3 screws, that's off. Now I'll be able to get up under there with the buffing wheel. And just make my life a little bit easier for the next half an hour or so. Every polishing operation I've ever done, there's always some spots you can't get your fingers or you can't get the polishing wheel. And this is a thing, this is like one of those little tips that's worth its weight in gold. Get an old microfiber, get plenty of polish on it, and an old paintbrush. Now that's going to allow me to get up in there where you really can't, there's no way you can get a buffing wheel of any kind. And there's a lot of little spots on every job that you just can't conveniently get, and you always have to do it. Now, the little Dremel tool has proved effective at getting in some little corners and edges and angles. That's worked well, but in the end, the final little parts you always have to do are always by hand. Now, the last little details on this job, there's a couple little things I want to do with the Dremel tool. With those little bits that we got, there's some little spots it's just hard to get in there. Some little spots down here and around the oxygen sensor, and the Dremel tool will get right in there with no problem. Now, a while back on our video channel during the Ninja restoration, we bought this tool, and I believe it was probably about $15, and we got about $30 worth of these off Amazon, all kind of wire brushes and this and that. And what proves we probably have 100 of them. These are really great for getting in little tight spots, just perfect. And these get in little spots too, and it just really makes a nice, like a little extra detail on the job. Now this is really the final detailing. You can get right in all these spots, right around the oxygen sensor. It really makes a little difference, and we have gotten so much use out of this little tool. It's a little Harbor Freight tool, and those things off Amazon, just perfect. And you can get in spots with this that you normally can't even think about getting with a regular drill or by hand, that's for sure. And the last thing on any polishing job is just to give everything a quick coat of flitz that should protect it for many months. before it oxidized. And it worked out great on a Ninja, by the way. At the end of a day like this, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of actually good exercise, no matter how you look at it. And the final little thing here, just to get a coat of flitz on everything, I'll sleep good tonight. And this little modification today, this little detail, you think nobody's going to notice this? Believe me, they notice it. People notice stuff like this. And if they don't, who cares? It's all subjective. You do what you want. If you want to paint your exhaust flat black, have at it, baby. Barbecue paint forever. Now, I certainly think that was time well spent, and that'll definitely add to my enjoyment of riding this motorcycle. And that's going to be a big thing, because I think this summer, the rest of the summer, the rest of my life, I'm going to be riding this bike a lot. I really love this bike. And it's joined our family of motorcycles. Eventually it'll get into the pitching rotation. Over the winter, summer, it's going to be an all-weather motorcycle. Now, the next time we get a work session, I'm going to polish the wheels, and I'm going to show the technique I use basically on all my custom wheels. And from the R1 to, well, they're all painted. I don't have any standard wheels anymore. So we've learned a lot about polishing wheels. We're going to pass it on that future video. So I hope you enjoyed every part of this video. It's been fun making these videos. I want to thank the healthcare workers. They have just made this possible. Thank you guys one and all. And in the case of this bike, we were shopping for it the day of the terrible storm that we just had up here. So every time I see a downed tree, I think of this bike. And thank you guys, the public service guys and whatnot that are working on that. So again, I do hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoy making them. I hope you enjoy them too. Karen and I both enjoy our life together, and we love sharing it with our friends. And hopefully you'll become one of them. If you're not, if this is the first time you watch the Windy video, let's hope it's not the last, because I need the money. And believe me, I don't get a penny. It's all free and it's all fun, and that's the whole reason we make them. So again, thanks for watching. Now, I certainly think that was time well spent, and that'll definitely add to my